If you like physicality, if you like running the ball, if you like watching the offensive line and defensive line go at it, this national championship game is for you because we have the Ferris State Bulldogs versus Harding. This is a Harding team that is undefeated right now. Both of these teams are undefeated. They're obviously playing at McKinney, Texas. This will be a matchup that has been familiar with both of these teams. Ferris State is 2-1 against Harding. This was a matchup that took place last year in the NCAA playoffs. Ferris State won 41-7, but this is a Harding team that is very unique. And this is a Harding team that has been this Ferris State team before, and this is a Harding team that is very, very different. And you saw Tony Anise. There's a kind of a viral clip of him talking about going up against Harding that's kind of going a little bit over some people's heads, in my opinion. And that was basically him saying that he would rather face Notre Dame than Harding. And do I think he honestly means that he'd rather face a Notre Dame team than Harding? No, not necessarily. I think there's kind of an extent to that, though. And I think a lot of it has to do with just people not knowing who this Harding team is. I don't think he's saying that because he believes that Harding is better than Notre Dame. I don't think he's saying that whatsoever. I think he's saying that because of how difficult it is to go up against this Harding type of offense. This is a Harding team that basically runs either a flex bone or a triple option. And you do not see that very often. This is a team that executes it extremely well. This is a team that doesn't throw the ball very much. Their starting quarterback has 500 yards on the year. They average, I think, like 35, maybe 40 yards a game through the air. They average over 400 yards of offense on the ground. This is the number one offense rushing attack in the entire country. If you look at Ferris State, they're number 3. So we got a top 3 matchup when it comes to running the ball. But this is also a Harding team that has multiple guys because of just the style of offense that they run that you truly have to worry about. You have to worry about Andrew Miller and Braden Jay. Those are the 2 top running backs for this team, but not only them, their quarterback can run a little bit as well, and I don't think you can really play this type of offense without that. Obviously, you do have to mention Cole Killman. He's the starting quarterback for Harding. He has over 800 yards rushing the ball, 500 yards throwing the ball, like I mentioned earlier, 1,300 yards total when it comes to just the offense that he has provided, and that's just the offensive side of the ball. Like, we can talk about just the discipline that truly needs to happen with Ferris State defensively. I've talked very highly of this Ferris State defense, how they force the other teams to make mistakes, and that's something that Harding hasn't done very often, especially when they're playing very, very well, and they're kind of running through teams that, not no pun intended, but really running their way through the playoffs. And this is a Harding team that if you are not looking at your keys, if you're looking for anything beyond that, it's going to be a long day because this is a Harding team that will continue to run on you. Now, I think this front seven for Ferris State is really, really good. I've mentioned that prior to that. This is a Ferris State team in the back end that I think is good at stopping the run as well. They've had quite a few interceptions. I don't think they're going to have as many as they did in the last game with 5 because I don't think Harding's going to throw the ball that much unless they're down. Now, I think that's going to be a huge component of this game is, can Ferris State get off to a fast start? I think that's going to be the biggest key of this because if Ferris State can get off to a fast start, they can get up 14, 21 points, which they did in the national championship last year, which obviously wasn't against Harding. If they can really dominate the offensive and defensive line, the line of possession over and over and over again, I think this is going to be a game that Ferris State can easily win. And while I say easily, maybe not easily, but it's going to be a game that's going to truly matter about how this game and each of these teams start. Because this is going to be a very competitive game. These are 2 very, very good teams. These are 2 teams undefeated for the right reason. This is the national championship that a lot of people expected to probably happen. Now, do I think this is going to be maybe like the most explosive national championship offensively when it comes time and when it comes to just like the great plays that are made? Maybe not necessarily. I think Ferris State obviously has a better and more room to throw the ball, so I think Ferris State might get that there. But it's going to be about, 1, doing your keys. 2, It's about not having turnovers in this game. And 3, it's going to be about the start of this game. If Ferris State starts fast, which they have done recently, that's obviously going to be a really good sign for them. But this is a Harding team. Not only offensively do they put up over 400 yards rushing the ball, but this is a Harding team that likes to have time of possession. They average a little bit over 32 minutes per game of time of possession. Now, they've been able to still put up quite a few points offensively as well, even though they don't really throw the ball. Like, this is a Harding team that averages 45 points a game. If you just look at what Harding has done, total offense, number 4 in the country, number 3 in scoring. You look at Ferris State, number 1 in offense, number 1 in scoring. These are two offenses that have the ability to put up points and put up points fast. But what about the opposite side of the ball? What about defense? And that's one thing we have to talk about, because this defensive matchup is going to be a lot of fun. This is a Harding defense that is number 1 in the country. They are really, really, really good defensively. Not only stopping the run, but stopping the pass as well. This is a Harding team that gives up only about 113 yards on the ground, basically 50 yards through the air. This is the number 1 team in the country when it comes to defense. They only give up basically, I think, like 10 points a game, maybe a little bit more than that, maybe like 11 points. Now, obviously, when they have time of possession, that's obviously going to play a factor and kind of favor them a little bit. But this is a defense that absolutely flies around. This is a defense and a defensive line and a front 7 that gets to the quarterback. This is a defense that you do not want to get behind the sticks. Now, do I think that this is a defense that has faced an offensive line like Ferris has? No, I don't think so. I don't think there's a lot of offensive lines that are better than Ferris. I've mentioned in prior podcasts, and I've talked about just what I think of not only the offensive line, but the coaching there as well. I think it's the best in the country. I truly do, and I think that's going to be a big reason why Ferris State wins this national championship and goes back-to-back and wins another one, is because of this offensive line, because of their ability to not only continue to lean on you throughout the game, but just continue to get pushed. Now, I think it's going to be a lot depending on what the defense does for Ferris State, because I think Ferris State offensively will be good, and they've been good, and the Ferris State defense has been great as well. But it's about not only making sure you do the right things, but it's about making sure you don't get behind the sticks against this Harding defense, because if you do, they will come at you and make you make mistakes. But if, like I said at the intro, if you love physicality, if you love hitting, if you love just running the ball, this is going to be a game for you. This is not going to be a game where you're going to have 20, 30 attempts for both teams throwing the ball. I would be shocked if you had over 20 attempts throwing the ball in this game for both teams combined. Like, that is just how different I think this game will be. Now, again, I mentioned earlier on, it's about the start. If one team gets behind 14, 21 points or two or three possessions, then obviously they're going to have to throw a little bit more. Now, do I think Harding would go that direction exactly? Not necessarily. I think this is a Harding team that really hasn't had to do that. I don't necessarily know exactly where they are or like the capability of them to do that. They've done it, but they only have a starting quarterback that has 2 touchdowns to 1 interception. Like, if they get down, will they be able to throw the ball against the secondary? I kind of doubt that. But hey, you know what? I've been proven wrong in the past, but I truly think this is going to be a great game. I think this is going to be a very physical game. This is kind of the game I expected it to be. I think, like I mentioned before, these are two teams that are very, very familiar with each other. They're going to understand it. You have respect from both of these coaching staffs. And if you look historically in the 2020s, these are the two teams that have won the national championship. The only year Ferris did not win it, Harding won it. So that's going to obviously continue. But I truly think that this is the matchup we all kind of were hoping for at the end of the day, because I truly think that these are the two best teams in the country. And they've not only proven it, but they've gotten to this point because of it. So my thoughts are Ferris State's going to win. And I think Ferris State will be back-to-back national championships. I think Tony Anise will get another national championship. I just think if it comes to who's going to be able to execute offensively a little bit more, who do I trust offensively a little bit more, I think it has to be Ferris, because I think the difference is going to be the line play And I think offensively, I trust the offensive line more for Ferris. That's no shot at Harding at all. I think Harding's offensive line, they've proven it this year, can be really, really good. I just think Ferris has a little bit more offensively than maybe what Harding does. I do think Harding's defense will keep them in the game. I think it'll be a really close game, but I think at the end of the day, Ferris will be raising the national championship trophy once again and leaving with back-to-back national champions and a really, really great season. But obviously, you never necessarily know until the game is played. And obviously, once the game is played and it takes its part, I'll talk about what happens. We'll see. We'll see exactly who wins, but I'll talk about it. And when the time comes, I'll talk about why one team won, one team lost, all that kind of stuff. But if you're listening to this, definitely tune into the national championship here on Saturday. It's going to be really fun. Really excited for this. It's going to be a good one. But if you're not able to watch it, make sure to tune into the recap where I talk about this. But if you enjoyed this preview, just make sure to leave a like, subscribe, comment, all that kind of stuff. I love talking about the Ferris State team, and I think at the beginning of the year I mentioned that I thought Ferris State would find their way to the national championship and win it. And they're right here, and we're going to see if that prediction comes true. But I think these are two great teams about to battle on Saturday. I'm really excited to watch it and then talk about it as well.